family and friends gather outside of Destiny Harrison's shop to remember a life gone too soon. Now, Harrison was described as an entrepreneur who fulfilled her dreams of opening her shop, Madam B Beauty Bar. It was outside of that shop Thursday night where loved ones gathered with pink and white balloons to remember her. And it was on Saturday night, inside of her own business on North Milton Avenue, when police say someone walked in and shot her in the head. We're told people were inside at the time of the shooting, including her 1-year-old daughter. Police found the 21-year-old dead when they arrived to the shop, and while no arrests have been made, court documents show Harrison had filed charges earlier this month against someone who apparently broke into her shop. Loved ones spoke at tonight's vigil.
Destiny just was a sweet person. She was ambitious. She just wanted to do what she loved. She wanted to do hair and be a mother.
What's next for her business?
I don't know.
It's gonna go strong. It's gonna forever be here. I'm her sister. I got this. This is what she's been preparing me for. Forever Destiny. Forever Slave by Des. Forever.
And the family plans to hold her funeral this weekend. Reporting in Southeast Baltimore, I'm Trey Wool, WBAL TV 11 News.
I want people to be like, she was a legend at that head shit. And I want my daughter to be like, my mother was that on the head tip, period.
So I want to talk to you guys about Destiny Harrison. Destiny Harrison was a 21-year-old mother. She was a salon owner, and she was murdered in her hometown, Baltimore, Maryland. And I want to talk to you guys about the broke, dusty mentality that, plagues a segment in Black society, unfortunately. And I'm always kind of hesitant to kind of shine the light on the negatives, because it seems to always, the negatives within Black society seems to always outweigh or outnumber the positives. And so for me, I try to come up with a balance, because I think that when you feed people, particularly our community, the Black community, with nothing but a bunch of negatives, then it's that much easier to buy into everything that's negative, or most things that's negative. You know what I'm saying? And so I kind of like to have a balance. But in this particular case, this young lady was, 21, y'all. I mean, just a very young woman. She had a daughter. The little girl didn't look maybe 2 at the most. And it's just really heartbreaking, because for me, it's like, damn, she was young. She started young. She was trying to have something, and unfortunately it was cut short. And that really hurts. And there are several stories within Black community about murders and killings and young people who are, killed and everything like that. But, I mean, if I was to cover every story that came out, I would be probably covering 2 or 3 stories a day, that actually make some type of national news or whatever. But moving on, like I said, she was gunned down in her own shop. She was shot in the head. There were people within the shop, as you guys heard on the news video. There were people within the shop. So for me, it's hard to believe that they have no suspects and have not found any, people of interest in this particular case. I don't know if, there is some type of a silent thing that, that particular community have. Sometimes in the Black community, it's like, we think negatively when it comes to snitching. And in this case, I don't consider, if you know who gunned this young lady down, this mother, this entrepreneur, if you know who gunned her down, to me, it's not considered snitching, because there should be a code of conduct, and, that's just way off code. And it's unfortunate, because we have, people from other communities. I mean, again, she was in the salon business as well as merchandise business, from what I understand. She did sell hair out of her shop. And days before I don't know how many days exactly. I've heard reports of 12 days before. but that has not been confirmed. But, shortly before she was shot in her own shop, there was someone who broke into her shop and took, some of the merchandise that she sells, which is hair. And reports say that they took about $3,000 worth of hair. And, for me, it's like, okay, I'm sure there are probably 30 shops within a maybe 5 to 10 mile radius around hers. But yet, you got dusty, broke ass mentality people who do not value their own, who do not value the fact that this young lady was trying to do something in her community. They don't value her as a person. They clearly didn't value children, because they said her daughter was in the shop when she was gunned down. So these type of people have no place within society. We should rid these people from society. Now, how that would happen, I don't know. I'm not an expert, but I do think whoever committed this heinous crime should be dealt with, whether that be locked up or whatever, but they definitely should be dealt with. This is so heartbreaking for me and so touching. But there are people, I'm sure, within a 5 to 10 mile radius of her shop, non-Black people, probably, those in the Asian community who, they could easily took from, who probably have more of a selection for them. But no, they didn't value her. They didn't value what she was trying to do, and they gunned her down. And, but anyways, you guys, I don't want to get too much off track. I just want to talk about, you have some people who said, okay, well, it's jealousy. No. Yeah, jealousy may be a factor, but I think that it's way bigger than jealousy. I think that it is way more deeper than jealousy. For me, it's like, okay, it's more than jealousy for me. To me, it's a mentality. It's the mentality that since I don't have it, you can't have it. Since I didn't amount to nothing, you can't amount to nothing. Or I'm going to make it hard for you to amount to something. I think that it's quite interesting because, there are a segment of people within Black society who, when it comes to each other, and this is part of the broke, dusty mentality, we will buck up to each other. We will fight each other at the drop of a dime. We will go toe to toe. We will get real short and, just real ugly with each other at the drop of a dime. But when it comes to non-Black people, we are very slow to anger. We're very slow to respond. We give them a lot of chances. And, in this particular story, it's just like you have people in Baltimore who are responsible for the brutal deaths of men who were gunned down, police brutality, things like that. You have those people walking around. Nobody ran up on them. Nobody, has done anything to them. But yet this young woman who's trying to do something, it was easy for them to run up on her and then ultimately murder her. So, again, this is very heartbreaking. And there were some stories that kind of parallel this. I thought it was quite interesting. Someone ran up in her shop while people were there and gunned her down, shot her in her head. And it made me think of course, Nipsey. And there have been people who have kind of, compared it to Nipsey's murder, where you had a dude broad daylight run up on Nip and shoot Nip, several times, including in the head. And, while people watched in his own, he's at his own place of business, just like this young lady, just like Destiny. He had no security. He was very comfortable. And unfortunately, when we hear stories like this, it makes us very scared to open businesses within our community. And it almost poses the question, should we? Should we do that? Open any business as a Black person? It's not. It's not easy to get business loans. It's not easy to get others to donate to Black businesses or, whatever. It's not easy to even get Black business. It is very hard for us. Very hard. So for anybody to have the guts to, especially at such a young age, to open up a business, that is a big deal. And see, the problem is a lot of us don't think that it is. We don't value. There are some of us, we just don't value each other. And I don't want this video to come off as if I'm beating up on Black people or beating up on the Black community because of what some dusty ass people did in this particular situation. I don't want to come off as that, but we do have to call this out. And again, I try to have a balance when it comes to talking about the negatives and the positives, because it just seems like so many times the negatives outweigh the positives. And, and for some, that may be reality. You got some people who live in certain communities or in certain areas where that is their reality. There's so much negativity within their environments and around them that the way that they look at their own people, particularly, Black people, their own, is just in such a negative of way. And I feel like everything else, there should be a balance. Because the extreme of that would be, to me, a Kanye West, right? Someone who was who's just then went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Like, he started out, you guys know, he's says he's from Chicago, and, he was for the Black people, for his people, and he had all these lyrics, that basically, called out many of the issues within Black community, down for the people. But then now, it's like, this man has lost his mind. Like, some of the things that he some of the topics and things like that, like, he has no one around him that grounds him. And I think sometimes when you don't have that balance, right, you have people who say, okay, well, because of all the negativity within Black community, I'm going to move out of that area. I'm going to take my business somewhere else. I'm just not going to do business. I'm going to do business, but not as much with Black people as possible. And then you get people like the extreme. You get people like your Stacey Dashes, like your Kanye Wests that go way, way to the far left because they have such negative views on their own people. And Stacey Dash's case, but of course Kanye, he just then went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and unfortunately he doesn't have people from that can ground him, that can bring him back down. He doesn't. This is what I believe. So just using him as an example, but again, this was just, to me, this was a case of dusty ass broke mentality people. And it's funny because I remember growing up, I never had that element of jealousy towards anyone. And I never had those feelings of, not wanting to praise or celebrate someone when they have success. I just didn't grow up not doing that. So I don't know if this is something that is learned, which I think it is, because most things are learned. Most things are learned. So I don't know if this is something that, it just was not learned, like you never seen. If you were one of those people, and when you grow up, all you do is see your mama. Every time she get on the phone, she talking to people, hating on people. She always keeping up mess and drama. She never has nothing positive to say about her own or about the, people within her community. She's always hating and bringing down people. That gets passed on. And then it gets to this point where you have this young entrepreneur who, was trying to do something in her community, and the people who did this did not see that as valuable, and they did not want to celebrate that. And so what you have is people who never learn how to celebrate people within their group success. They don't learn how to celebrate success. So instead, they try doing little things to undermine, doing little shady things behind the scene, to undermine what they're doing, going in behind people's back to, try to indirectly bring them down or bring shame or whatever. Like, you have that. And it's sad because it's like, it doesn't have to be like that. Go get your own. Go start your own business. No, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. But starting your own business, because I'm a business owner, as you guys already know, some of you guys may know, I'm a business owner, and no, it's not easy. It's very hard, particularly when, you're trying to start a business that somewhat caters to Black people, right? And it is very hard and very challenging, but you learn so many skills, life skills. You learn so many skills in that process. So it's not a bad process. And it's your journey. You can't compare your journey to someone else's. But again, like I said, I think this was a case of you got dusty ass people not knowing how to celebrate for their own. Right? They'll celebrate other non-Black people's success. They'll clap for other non-Black people's success. They won't bother them and let other businesses, non-Black businesses, have peace, right? But then when it comes to those within their group, they do things like this. So, guys, that's all I have. I hope, I wasn't too long in this video. You guys go ahead and like and subscribe for you guys who are new to the channel. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate your subscriptions. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you. Bye.